I cannot stress the importance of knowing, yes, I'm good with him, but I'm also good without him. When you know that you're also good without him, changes the entire dating experience. Elite level dating. That's a whole ass woman right there. When you know that you're good without him, changes everything.
That's true.
I'm a little bit tired of men commenting on women's TikToks calling us toxic. Like, you're the reason that we are this way. We have to play games because you guys invented the game and we're just playing along. If you were just normal human beings, then we could just be our normal selves. But when we're nice and we just communicate, you ghost us. You invented the game and now you're mad that we're playing. Happy Saturday, Queens. If you're seeing this, it's probably because there's some douchebag who left you on red or hasn't hit you up, and this is just your friendly reminder that karma's a bitch. And his hairline's probably gonna start to recede, and you'll be so grateful you're not with him. So, I love you.
Do you guys ever find it weird how these girls, like, they always refer to each other as queens and boss babes and, like, you don't need no man, but then you take a look at their personal life and they've never been able to keep around a man their entire damn life, and they expect men to do absolutely everything for them, or else, you know, hell, they even still live in a patriarchy after saying that men should do all these things for them. And quite oftentimes, guys, men actually do pretty much everything for these women anyway. Like, they really do. Like, you can literally go out in society right now, marry a dude. Hell, you don't even have to marry him. Then just divorce him and take him for all of his crap. And we're supposed to, like, sympathize and say that these quote-unquote queens have it difficult? Yeah, I don't think so. But what is going on, guys? It is Taylor The Fiend back again with another response video. And on today's show, guys, we are going to be breaking down some clips from this woman right here. Now, you may recognize her from some recent videos, guys. And the reason for that is because her TikTok is an absolute gold mine for content, so it is what it is. Guys, before we jump in, as always, make sure that you come and join us over on Locals. The link is in the description, guys. It's totally free to join, just in case YouTube decides to yeet us off their platform, guys. It'll allow me to have a line of communication with you. We're also taking archived videos. We're archiving videos on YouTube and putting them over there. But without further ado, guys, let's jump into some of these clips. Make sure to leave your thoughts and your comments as we go through, and let's give this short one more listen to before we continue. So let's see again what she has to say.
Happy Saturday, Queens. If you're seeing this, it's probably because there's some douchebag who left you on red or hasn't hit you up, and this is just your friendly reminder that karma's a bitch. And his hair.
Why is it whenever we see videos like this, okay, that these girls always seem to have some sort of inclination that there's like some, you know, like, oh, I don't date him because he's a Virgo. I don't date him because he's a Scorpio. You know, karma exists. Like, all this kind of crap, guys, that really is a non-factor to anyone who operates by logic. You know what I mean? It's like, you think that karma is going to come bite him in the butt because he didn't commit to you or because he didn't want to talk to you, when the fact of the matter is that, hey, maybe people just don't want to engage with you.
His hairline's probably going to start to recede, and you'll be so grateful you're not with him. So, I love you.
Yeah, and what do we do as a result? Right, we have to say that if a dude doesn't talk to you, oh, well, she's going to feel better because, you know, the dude's hairline is going to recede, right? Absolutely ridiculous. But let's jump into the next clip. And again, all of these that we're going to be looking at today are all the same woman.
For all the men in my comment sections telling me that I'm mid and that I'm not hot enough to have standards, first of all, where? Where am I mid? Where? Second of all, my looks have nothing to do with my self-worth or my standards, so they're completely irrelevant. Have a nice day.
I hear this point a lot, right? Like, where women will say, like, oh, you know, my appearance doesn't mean anything. It functions independent of my self-esteem and how I treat other people. But guys, I'm telling you, there's such a huge distinction between, like, the way girls, you know, the more attractive a girl is, like girls will go out here on dating apps, they'll get tons of attention, and as a result of that attention, they'll treat dudes like crap, or they'll set their standards through the damn roof, right? I don't believe for a second when these girls say like, "Oh, I'm confident no matter what," right? My standards function independent to my looks, because we all know that's not the truth, guys. You know, many years ago, when girls weren't receiving so much validation from simps and everything like that, we didn't have such ridiculous levels of entitlement. You guys notice how that, like, with dating today, you know, society the way it is right now is like a lot of these girls who are, you know, without meaning to just flat out insult them here, guys, a lot of these girls are straight up average, but they think that they're not. Like, they think that they're absolute queens and they deserve to get treated a particular way. It's actually kind of insane.
For all the men in my comment sections telling me that I'm mid and that I'm not hot enough to have standards,
dudes aren't telling you. If I went back in these comments, I'm going to take a guess in the dark here and say the dudes aren't saying that you should have no standards. Dudes, when dudes bring up your standards, it's not because you have standards. Okay, standards, boundaries, these are fantastic things. These are healthy things to have. You know, like you're raising a kid, for example. Obviously, you want the kid to have boundaries. You want the kid to have standards and to know what's appropriate, yeah, and you know what their goals and all that sort of stuff should be. You don't want your kid to have unrealistic standards, whether it be for themselves or for other people, because other people aren't going to like them and they're not going to like themselves. You see what I'm saying? Like, dudes don't come at you for having standards. Dudes typically, and I'm just going to go out on a limb here, dudes would probably be coming at you not because you have standards, but because your standards are ridiculous. Like, that's why. Nobody's saying that you should go out here and you should date terrible people, but like, if you think that being an average girl, you should be able to date significantly above average, like, these dudes are not going to commit to you. They're going to see you and like 4 other girls at the same time. So, you know, and you can complain about that. You can choose not to appreciate that, but that's the way it is.
First of all, where am I mid? Where? Second of all, my looks have nothing to do with my self-worth or my standards.
This is a fantastic sentence to say, but I just wonder if it's true. Okay, like, I really wonder if it's true, because we have seen too many times where this will be said, but it's not actually the case, right? There's there's another TikTok that I'll be covering in an upcoming episode, I'm sure, where a girl's just like, I don't think I actually included this TikTok. My editor didn't include it, excuse me. But it was like a girl sitting there crying because she didn't feel like her hair was pretty enough and all this kind of crap, guys. Like, really, a lot of people, look, if this girl thinks that she doesn't derive her self-esteem in that from her looks, fine. But I'm very skeptical. I'm in the age that we live in, guys, with social media and all that kind of crap, most people derive their self-esteem by how much validation that they can get from other strangers, particularly girls, unfortunately.
So they're completely irrelevant. Have a nice day.
Okay, and on to the next clip. And again, these are the same women, guys, all of these. And remember to leave your comments as we go through.
If I had to pick between a man and my own peace and happiness, I would probably pick the man, but then I would get my shit together, dump his ass, choose peace, the end, bye.
I don't, this is interesting, because I actually don't think a lot of men are like chaotic and want to cause issues and stuff like that. I really don't. Most of the dudes I know, incredibly chill, friendly dudes who, a lot of my friends, they have girlfriends and stuff like that. Not all of them, but there's a good few that have girlfriends, right? And these are not dudes who like cause chaos. You know what I'm saying? Like, the majority of men are not interested in causing chaos in your life. Girls will say this kind of crap. And typically, by the way, this is not actually the man causing chaos. It just means that the man won't commit to her. Like that, and he doesn't want to commit to her. So like, she experiences ups and downs. Most dudes are not out here like trying to cause issues and manipulate and do all this kind of crap. The dudes at the top, they can certainly do this, and I'm sure that they understand how to do this. Right? Because here's the thing, if a guy doesn't commit to you, right? Yeah, he'll string you along for a bit and stuff like that, and that's what these girls consider to be like manipulative and you know, causing chaos and everything. When in actual fact, guys, it's just them choosing the men who don't want to commit to them, and then they're complaining when their feelings go up and down and up and down because he's like seeing other girls and stuff like that. Well, let's take another listen.
If I had to pick between a man and my own peace and happiness.
And she's acting as though these things are mutually exclusive, right? Like, in order to be with a man, you have to forego your peace and happiness. You see what I'm saying, guys? Like, it really does kind of clue you into the fact of the type of men that these women are choosing, you know?
I would probably pick the man, but then I would get my shit together, dump his ass, choose peace, the end, bye.
Yeah, so, you know, get with the guy. Like, what individual looks at a TikTok like this and thinks to themselves, wow, you know, this is a fantastic time for me to go, I would definitely take this woman seriously. Right? Can you imagine? Okay, you go out there, you meet this woman, right? You think she's completely normal. Okay, you go forward, you get married, and then you come back and then you see a TikTok like this where she's making, you know, she's saying that, oh, I'm just going to ditch his butt and go see, you know, go somewhere else or whatever. It's like, does that fill your relationship with confidence? You know, like, all of this embarrassing stuff on the internet, guys, bear in mind that if a man gets with this woman, he's going to see this stuff. Like, I don't think these girls understand that they're really just kind of like, you know, damaging themselves in the eyes of their future partners, which, fair enough, if they don't actually want a partner, whatever, I guess. But she literally says here that she would choose a man first, so I don't know what the logic is there. But let's continue on to the next video, and I think we've covered this one on the show before.
If you're dating a dude and you're not stealing all of his shit, I'm talking sunglasses, hats, cargo pants, hoodies, jackets, flannels, then why are you dating him? Because I feel like I'm really just in this for the shared closet.
You know, what even is this, man? Like, I love how, like, things that are dudes' possessions, right? Things that are men's, okay? Okay, let me put it to you this way, right? Things that are women's belong to women, right? But things that are men's belong to both men and women. You see what I'm saying? Well, like, her money is her money. Your money is her money and your money. Have you guys ever noticed how, like, this is the way stuff works out, right? And it's like fine, but just like, not fine, but like in the case of clothes, stealing a hoodie here or there, whatever, as long as girls return it. But, you know, it's like the level of entitlement that just comes with this stuff of expecting you to give things, whether that be lending a hoodie. It kind of makes dudes look at you like, why on earth would I bother committing to you when, like, you just view me as someone who I'm here for you to take from. You see what I'm saying? I never really understood this attitude of like, oh yeah, his hoodies belong to me. No, they don't. They really kind of they really don't. Let's continue on to the next one. And this is actually the clip that we have previously covered on the channel.
Okay, this is how I know a man is not the one. Number one, doesn't tell me I'm absolutely stunning at least once every 5 minutes. Number two, doesn't buy me literally anything that I want the first time that I ask. And number three, isn't willing to absolutely just house someone if they dare to even look at me.
Do you think that she realizes that she's describing things that are just downright ridiculous? Right? So you want a guy to go out here to validate you, to do all of these things for you, to get in random altercations just because you say so. And if he doesn't do all of these things, then he's not up to your standards. It's like, this is why dudes in the comments, as per your previous video, talking crap about your standards, because these are not standards. These are just things that you set for dudes to have to do for you because you think that you're deserving of it. Like, this is not standards, okay? This is not boundaries. This is not healthy. This is just you being entitled and expecting men to do things for you. And I've never understood this attitude of like people who go into relationships to use the other person for validation. You know, like if this person that I'm with doesn't validate me enough and make me feel good enough about myself, then they're not the one for me. It's like, why do people... I don't understand this attitude of like trying to view your partner as somebody who's like, who has to make you feel okay with yourself. right? Like you're broken and it's your partner's job to come in and fill the void because you can't do it yourself and because you can't take responsibility for your own damn feelings. Like what on earth does that even make sense in? And this is the kind of crap that really shows you, like, if you were to put this attitude and you like try and put it into a relationship, it's not conducive at all. Right, so the dude's expected to do these things for you, and if he doesn't, he's not your ideal man. Imagine sitting in that relationship and you hear crap like this, and you just know that it's not going to go anywhere positive, right? Like you just know that it's just completely and utterly doomed. But yeah, we literally, I wish I could show you guys this. I got to set up the screen so I can show you guys the comments at some point again. But literally the first comment on this video is a woman named Danny saying that you should never settle, right? And next girl says words of affirmation and gifting. You know, another girl is saying here, yes. Another girl saying, I'm here for it. Laughing emoji. I love this. Right. It's just all the girls agreeing with this incredibly stupid take. But let's continue on to the next one.
I was just out and about the other day minding my own business, and this man, when I tell you, I almost left my boyfriend for this man because he asked me for my Snapchat. I'm sorry, my Snapchat? You think I'm young enough that I use Snapchat? Ugh. I almost proposed to him.
When I first saw this TikTok, I actually, it's kind of sad to say, but I think a lot of older women actually do have Snapchat. Like 30-plus-year-old women, I think that this is like one of the biggest tools that they actually use to cheat. That along with the direct texting, I guess. But you know, I wish that this woman was 100% right here when she's saying, you know, me as an older woman, why would you assume that I'd have Snapchat? But you're literally on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Like this app is for young people to. This started, you know, like young people doing dances and crap like that. And here we have like I don't know how old this woman is. I'm going to assume 30-plus-year-old woman. So like, you think that it's a compliment because you don't have Snapchat and he's asking for your Snapchat, but at the same time, you're sitting here on TikTok. Am I the only one who finds it super weird where we have like just fully grown adults sitting on TikTok making rants about their life? Like, bro, this is like a dance. You know what I'm saying? This is not, I don't know if this is the place, if this is the forum where you want to be saying this kind of garbage.
I proposed to him. I was just out and about the other day minding my own business, and this man, when I tell you, I almost left my boyfriend for this man because he asked me for my Snapchat. I'm sorry, my Snapchat?
And you'll hear this all the time. Like, guys, how many Reddit stories, I'm going to kind of sit back a little bit here, right? How many times on this show have like we covered Reddit stories where a girl wants to like claim plausible deniability? Like, they'll either A, make stuff like this completely up, or B, whenever a dude flirts with them for a long period of time and asks for their details, you'll notice that a lot of them, what they end up doing is they claim plausible deniability. Like, how was I supposed to know that he was hitting on me? How was I supposed to know this and that? And they really just are there to keep the doors open, you know? It's actually pretty disgusting. Let's continue on to the next one. And I'm pretty sure this, my editor tells me, was probably in the intro.
I'm a little bit tired of men commenting on women's TikToks, calling us toxic. Like, you're the reason that we are this way.
I would disagree with that. You see, and the reason why I disagree with that is because not like a very, very large percentage of men are not toxic, and the remainder, yeah, there's some toxic ones, but the remainder comprises of a lot of men who you consider toxic simply because they don't commit to you, right? Like, you would assume that this is the same argument, but the thing is, genders actually behave very differently, and one of the reasons for that, not all of it, absolutely, but one of the reasons is because girls have so much more options. Like, you're calling men manipulative, okay? And, you know, men play games with you. You understand that only the men at the top can play these games because that's who you're choosing. You see, like, again, you're not describing men as a whole. You're describing the men that you choose to date.
We have to play games because you guys invented the game, and we're just...
And how's that working out for you? Okay, here's the thing, all right? Let's just hypothetically say this woman is trying to lock down a man who's quote unquote playing games, right? So he's not committing to her, he's not texting her, blah, blah, blah. Let's just assume that he knows the game, okay? Now, let's imagine for a moment that this woman, by this woman's logic, because he's playing games, now she has to play games. Okay, so let's follow that logic. This man sees you playing games, knows that you're being an idiot, right? Like you're like taking longer to reply to texts, right? You're posting photos with other men out on the town and out at clubs, or like, you know, an arm at a picnic here or there, or some crap to your Instagram. He sees you playing these little mind games. You know what he's going to think? You have just 100% disqualified yourself as a girlfriend and as a wife. That's what you've done. Okay, so if you want to play the stupid games, the quote unquote stupid games back, right, then you will win stupid prizes. You absolutely will. Now, if your goal is not to get the goal for a lot of men is completely different. For guys have realized that a lot of the end goal is not to get in a relationship with these girls anymore. Why on earth would you do that? So if a dude's out here playing games and he's not getting a relationship and he's getting bedroom fun, there's a lot of guys who would consider that a W, especially the dudes at the top, okay? Now, your version of playing games, that gets you some bedroom fun, but it doesn't get you a ring. So, you know, who's the real loser in this situation?
Just playing along. If you were just normal human beings, then we could just be our normal selves.
Men are normal human beings, right? I make this point a lot, but there are plenty of men out here who are good men, noble men, who care about things, who care about their families, who have good values, who are willing to, Lord knows why, provide for you, okay? But you overlook these men and you choose the men that play games. Every time there's one of these TikToks guys that we cover, or at least a very large percentage of them, there's dudes in the comments that'll say like, oh, I'd go out on a date with you, but these men are invisible to you.
But when we're nice and we just communicate, you ghost us. You invented the game, and now you're mad that we're playing. I'm a little bit...
Yeah, and I would actually just strongly disagree there. I think that women on average are significantly better at playing these games and these manipulation tactics. I've said this a lot, guys, but I have the view that girls in general are significantly better at manipulation than men. Like, it absolutely is not even close. It's like, it's not even close. I think that girls are, in most situations, they're a lot more socially intelligent than us dudes. Now, does that mean that we can't be socially intelligent? Of course not. But by and large, on average, I think that the discrepancy between genders on this is basically as big as like dudes being, you know, better at sports and crap like that. It is that noticeable. But people want to pretend like this doesn't exist and that men are just like manipulative and we play all these games. Most men do not do this. Most men don't even know how to play games. Most men don't even have the opportunity to play games because dating sucks for them. Like, you see the logical fallacy that's going on here? It's ridiculous. Let's go on to the next and the final clip.
I cannot stress the importance of knowing, yes, I'm good with him, but I'm also good without him.
I mean, is that... Okay. Is that true, though? Like, you hear all of these girls, man, they like, maybe this woman is, in this particular instance, fine. But when you hear this stuff, and especially she's preaching it to other women, I mean, we got a lot of girls out here who, like, they leave their husbands, and yeah, they get money, but they're, like, not better off without him, because who's going to fix the light bulbs, right? Who's going to fix the car? Who's going to call the plumber to come over while he's at work, right? Like, you hear all these stories about girls breaking up with their boyfriends and their husbands, and they realize that the grass isn't greener on the other side. So, like, you know, or like you'll hear girls crying because they're alone. Like, I don't know, man.
When you know that you're also good without him, changes the entire dating experience. Elite level dating. That's a whole ass woman right there. When you know that you're good without him, changes everything.
Beautiful stuff. I just wonder if it's, you know, we hear a lot of like strong and empowered and they're strong and independent. Okay, fine, well and good. When it comes to paying for the date, when it comes to organizing the date, when it comes to leading the date, when it comes to proposing, these are things that men are expected to do still. So, like, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing the strong and independence. I'm hearing that, you know, you're fine by yourselves. But, you know, we still have a very astronomical amount of women who are not fine by themselves and who insist that men pick up the slack for them because they can't do it. But guys, we are going to be continuing on to today's magazine article. If you haven't already, guys, make sure to leave your thoughts and your comments. And let's take a listen at what we have pulled up here today, if the damn tab will load. Oh, man. Okay. So this is an article. Let me see if I can pull this up for you guys to see right here. I'm going to have to slightly pull this over. This is an article. And yeah, you're reading it right, okay? Top 10 toxic masculinity behaviors. Okay, yes, guys, welcome to 2022. This is actually real. It's actually real. So let's take a listen to this. Number 1 for the top toxic masculinity behavior, excuse me, is being stoic. So apparently, guys, being stoic is a bad thing, right? Men are constantly given the message that they must be self-reliant, independent, physically tough, etc. Men are told that this will make them way more successful in terms of business, society, and finding a partner. Being vulnerable will cause men to be ridiculed. This is all true right here. Not the second part, I don't think. I think there's obviously a space for being vulnerable. But yeah, you as a man, I think it's very important that you be self-reliant, independent, physically tough. These are fantastic things to be striving towards. Right? At all points. You know, you want to be self-reliant when you're 18, you want to be self-reliant when you're 70. Okay? Like, I don't understand why being stoic, being self-reliant, independent, and physically tough are things that are considered to be, you know, toxic masculinity. This term right here, toxic masculinity, is incredibly disgusting. Because what it implies, it's not just implying that, oh, you know, some men can be toxically masculine. The underlying implication here is that masculinity is by definition toxic. Like, that's what this is. Lists like this, they serve to undermine men. That's really what it's about. Right? Notice how the first thing, being stoic, is toxically masculine, because these people, they don't want you to be independent. They don't want you to think for yourself. They want you to be a part of their little hive mind. I shouldn't even say little at this point because it's, you know, very big. But they want you to just be some guy who's clueless, walking around, and who's reliant and dependent on them. Physically weak, mentally weak. It's disgusting. Next one, being promiscuous. Typically, men will be praised by other men for bedroom fun. There is well-known double standard regarding the perceptions of male versus female promiscuity, with men being praised by their peers and being called studs, and women being referred to with derogatory quote-unquote insults. Now, let's talk about this for a second, guys. First of all, obviously being promiscuous as a dude, I think promiscuity is a bad thing for both men and women. I don't advocate for dudes to go out here and be promiscuous. Like, it's up to dudes to do what they want to do. Okay? I'm not trying to like say that people have to do this or people have to do that. I think it's stupid to tell people what they have to do, right? But, you know, let's talk about this for a second. The reason why that there's a quote unquote double standard is because a man going out here and getting with a whole bunch of girls requires something different to a woman doing it, right? For a man to go out here and actually do the things that you're describing, to go out there and be promiscuous, you've got to understand that this is something that most men can't even do, right? It actually, like, for most men to go out there and be promiscuous, you either have to be, you know, just genetically gifted right off the bat, or actually bring something to the table that at the bare minimum typically requires grinding. For a girl to be promiscuous, all you have to do is go outside. Like, literally just go to a coffee shop, say yes to the first guy that walks up to you while you're sitting there reading a book, and bam, you haven't done anything. In order for a dude to go out there and be promiscuous, you typically have to actually bring something to the table, and that's the difference. That's why, and these things, by the way, are not typically easy to attain, whether that be, you know, good amounts of wealth, a good physique and stuff. These things like really take grinding. Now, if you want to compare that to girls just waking up, getting out of, you know, having a bath and not eating McDonald's, I think that's a you know, a false dichotomy to be bringing up. But let's continue. Championing hetero-ness as the unalterable norm. Many men are programmed to react negatively to the concept of stuff that I can't say on YouTube, really, as it is a sign deviating from the traditional male stereotype. Through popular rhetoric and from an early age when boys are learning about gender roles, men are taught to be less masculine. Let's talk about this for a second. I don't think that this is, you know, something that's programmed into men to, you know, to not align with. I just think that most men are not this. You know what I'm saying? Like this, you would think reading articles like this that this constitutes the majority of society, and that if you're not, you know, just overboard with joy, or, you know, this is stuff that you yourself don't engage in. It's like those people who go on here and say like, oh, you know, you're a transphobe. You know, it's like, I'm not a transphobe. I just like, I'm not into it. Like, you know, right? I'm not into doing that myself. I don't think that you should be doing XYZ. That, you know, you should be altering your body in such a way, particularly at a young age. And then everyone wants to call you like a transphobe and crap like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe most men don't align with this because they don't align with this. I know that's a crazy idea, but you know, what's being called crazy today? What isn't being called crazy today, honestly, guys, to be honest with you. Next one is being violent. Now, again, all of these things, let's just take this right off the bat, okay? Is it bad to be violent? In 99% of cases, absolutely. Okay, but notice how the list again, we're talking about things that are toxic masculinity. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes, guys, it's important to be able to defend yourself. You know what I mean? Like, it's important to be like, all of these things, not all of these things, okay? But, you know, a lot of these things, they're just saying that, okay, if you're this, or this, then you're toxically masculine. And I think that's a terrible message to send, particularly to young men who don't know any better and who can't, not who don't know any better, but who come into contact with this for the first time, and they just want to like listen and be the good person. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of dudes in general just want to be a good man, and so when morals and crap like that are dangled in front of them, like, oh, you shouldn't be this, a lot of men will say okay because they want to be good, right? Because people position this, people position stoicism as bad. And, you know, so we got a lot of men out here who don't want to be self-reliant, independent, physically tough, etc. It's really sad. Let's continue on to the next one. Yeah, I'm going to skip some of these because some of these things I can't really talk about on YouTube too much. Next one is not displaying emotion. Emotion is treated as being a feminine characteristic. Stifling emotion is seen as true manliness. From childhood, males are shamed to conform with the standard that to show emotion is weak and feminine. I'll say this, guys. There is a time not to display emotion, and there is a time to show some emotion. Right, that doesn't mean that you have to be like an emotionless creature who walks around and you don't care about anything because you're so apathetic and you have no emotions. No, everybody has emotions, absolutely. Okay, but is to, you know, not be emotional, is that toxically masculine? If you ask a girl, like, guys, imagine this for a situation, okay? A woman is married to her husband and there's some issue that comes up, okay? Like, you know, something that needs to be solved, okay? Middle of the night, burglar comes in. Do you want a guy who's just going to be emotional and be, you know, super stressed out? Maybe he's like, you know, he's like, oh, he's stressed, or he's this, he's that, right? Or do you want a guy who's just going to not display any emotion and go and solve the problem, right? There is a time to not be showing emotion. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, you don't have to be emotional. There's utility in not being emotional all the damn time. That doesn't mean that emotions are wrong. Everyone has emotions. This list is disgusting, but we'll get on to this last one right here. Wait, we'll get on to the last two, actually, because I want to talk about this one right here. But look at this. If you are not a womanist ally, then you are a toxic man. That's the logic that's being applied here, guys. If you're not with us, you are against us, and we're going to ostracize you with made-up terms. Isn't that fantastic? Like, we've hit a point in society right now. I don't know why the window, you know, the rain's lagging out the back, as you guys can see here on the screen. I don't know why it does that, man. But, you know, if you're not a womanist ally, then you're a terrible man. Like you're a bad man. What a fantastic way, right? So what they do is, if men don't agree with them, we're going to attack their masculinity. Right, that's like saying that, like, if you don't agree with me as a woman, then you're not pretty, or you're not this, or you're not that. You know, it's like, bro, what on earth is this logic? And the last one, of course, is you're a toxic man if you engage in risk-taking. Connected to male dominance, toxic masculinity encourages taking risks to demonstrate dominance. Men who buy into this are more likely to take extreme measures, such as, you know, violence, drive, dangerously gamble, and do all these other sorts of things. Yeah, guys, so if you don't want to be, you know, if you want to be a real man, if you don't want to be one of these toxic masculine men, guys, you need to not take risks. I think risks are incredibly important. I don't know about you guys, but absolutely disgusting message to be putting out there. Now, guys, let's jump into today's Reddit story, perhaps maybe two, and then we'll wrap up today's episode. So let's jump into this one right here. This right here says, seeking advice from introverted guys. So I've been on 3 amazing 8 to 9 hour dates with an introverted guy. Couple of things about him. Right off the bat, why are dudes... I'm actually like rubbing my temple, guys. Yeah. Why are dudes going out for 8 to 9 hour dates, especially with girls that they've like just met? Like, you know, first date, 8 to 9 hours. Second date, guys, like, please have better things to do, man, than to do this. Like, there are so much more productive things you could be doing. I don't understand. First one. A couple of things about him. He takes time to respond to me both verbally and textually. There'd be a 10 to 15 second pause when he speaks, and then a fully formed, sophisticated response would come out. I love that. Number 2, he's not socially outgoing, and neither am I. We're both deep thinkers and intellectual people. What a fantastic way to say that you're not a deep thinker and you're not an intellectual. I think it's like the same thing as saying that you're humble, right? It's like, bro, I'm so humble. It's like, I don't know if you are, but okay, let's carry on. He's never had a serious relationship. He's a 27-year-old male and I'm a 27-year-old female. He said his initial filtering process is rigorous. We matched on Hinge, so he doesn't get a lot of dates. He also said he doesn't want any problems in his dating life. He asked me out after 4 months of delayed chatting on Hinge. He said that he's looking for a meaningful relationship. He held my hand after a misinterpretation of the situation the first time, but the second time he simply put his hand on mine when we were looking at each other's palms. He's always mentioning of the things that we could do or the places we could go. He's asked me questions like what type of body types I find attractive or what physical features I find attractive. Then he went on asking me if I like his body type and his hair and things like that. Overall experiences on the dates assure me that he likes me, but we don't text. I am not the texting type myself and I'd rather meet in person, but I like him and wouldn't mind texting him regularly. On his dating profile, he mentioned, I'm a type of texter who takes some time to respond. That is so the response is thoughtful and sincere. He's shy and introverted and I really like him, but I do wonder if he's still screening me or what. We will meet for another date this weekend, and I said that I'll plan it because he planned the third one. After both first and second dates, I was the one initiating texts and he was the one asking me out. So on the third date, we were planning to meet again and I said I'd plan this one, but I haven't texted him this time. Neither has he. We both meet on Saturdays and today is a Tuesday night. Question. I'm also an introvert, but more like an ambivert. And with this situation, I'm definitely the extrovert / actively expressive one. He talks well and good enough, but I have to facilitate him. I honestly enjoy his company and genuinely like him and haven't met anyone like him. I'm just curious if he likes me. Addition, I'm so thankful to all the people answering blah, 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 blah. So basically, guys, what you'll notice is that if you're a dude who's out here dating, and you don't text girls a lot, you don't message them a lot, you take your time to respond, especially verbally, you know, you give pauses and stuff like that. A lot of girls will start to formulate an anxiety in themselves and they'll think, am I good enough? I don't know if he's still seeing if I'm viable, right? A lot of girls, this is the kind of crap I'm talking about, because a lot of guys, they don't allow like these 10 to 15 second pauses. So girls don't feel that anxiety. They don't feel like, this is the kind of crap as well that causes butterflies. You see what I'm saying? Dudes are out here, they're on dates, literally just, you know, spewing everything about their personal lives, what they do for a job. They're like, oh, damn near talking over her, talking a lot, all this kind of crap, guys. And then what happens when you don't do this is you wind up with situations like this, where the girl is doing paragraphs upon paragraphs of thinking because she doesn't know if you even like her. And girls will say that they want a guy who, you know, reassures them, who you know, loves them, integrity, all that blah 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 blah. And yet, you know, when it's all said and done, guys, this is what it really looks like. Like, this is what it really looks like, where girls sit here and they're wondering, does he even like me? And that's how the love is formed. Not through dudes buying them expensive stuff, taking them on stupid trips, you know, doing everything that she wants, because she doesn't respect those men. But guys, let's continue on to today's last Reddit story. So this one right here, we've got one that says, the girl I'm dating thinks that I'm gay. So I, a 23-year-old male, have been seeing this girl who's 24 years of age for the last 3 weeks, and I really like her. We have quite a bit in common in terms of interests and lifestyle, and I also find her very attractive. Sadly, a couple nights ago when I was over at her place, I was showing her something on my phone, and she said she saw that I had Grindr installed. This was because I had a bi-curious phase a few years ago when I was lonely and depressed, and I just never found a reason to delete the app afterwards. In keeping it real, I do check in every few months or so just to see what's out there, but I'm definitely more attracted to females than males. Anyway, this seemed to disturb her, even if after I gave her the above explanation. She said that she'd sensed that vibe from me from the beginning, and this only served as confirmation, which I find odd since I dress like a bum and mostly have a straight guy hobbies like watching sports, playing guitar, cars, etc. She said she didn't want her heart broken and that she fell for a guy in the past who ended up being gay, and then she texted me last night saying she's not sure this is going to work and she needs space from me for a bit. She also indicated that she's convinced that I'm full on gay, not even bi. Blah blah blah. How do I approach this? How do I best communicate that I'm straight and have no intentions of ever leading her for a guy? You know, it's always interesting, guys, how girls will say that they want a dude who's maybe traditionally more feminine, or whatever the case, like a guy who's more open-minded, a guy who you know, is not stuck on these gender norms, right, and all this kind of crap. And here you have a situation where a girl's being presented to something approximating those things, and she just throws him out immediately, right? Like, we don't want masculine men. Masculinity is toxic, okay? But then you end up with a dude who likes dudes, right? And you're like, oh, well, let's just throw him out because she doesn't want to get cheated on. Right, and that's her logic. She doesn't want to. She thinks that because this guy is bi, he's just going to cheat on her. That's her logic right here. You know, I think there's something a little bit more going on there. But guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, make sure that you leave your comments on the way out, guys. Make sure that you come and join us over on Locals. The link is in the description, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Peace. Yo, what is going on, guys? Past Taylor here. Just want to say thank you if you made it to the end of today's video. Before you head out, there's just a few announcements that I'd like to make. The first is that my editor, who goes through all of the blood, sweat, and tears of putting together content for us to endure, has started his own YouTube channel. The link will be in the video description, so make sure that you go and show him some support by going and giving him a sub. Also, we are currently looking to expand Fiendish content creation behind the scenes, so if you're interested in becoming a content creator alongside me, be sure to check out the application form at the very bottom of the video description. This is for those of you who are interested in becoming a part of the content that you see here on YouTube. So if you're interested in applying, make sure to get in quick. People who apply first will have priority for consideration. Again, the link is at the very bottom of the video description. Lastly, if you guys are interested in supporting the channel, there are links to both Patreon and Locals below the video, guys. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to the supporters on those two platforms. You guys allow me to make these episodes, and your support is greatly appreciated. As always, guys, make sure you take care of yourselves, and I will catch you later for real this time, guys. Peace.